Welcome to the Fatal Vision podcast. This is James McGinnis, right up in here. Oh, look what I got! I've got the Book of the Month Club edition right here, baby. Tonight, uh, yeah, I'm
Whoa.
breaking out the big guns.
That is very cool, man. Thank you for showing us that.
Oh, I'm all here for you. I'm here. I'm so here for it. As you know,
You go there, man.
yeah,
You
I
go
do. I
there.
go there. I go there. Um, Hold on one second. I'm just working on the streaming stuff. I thought we were going to get a little bit. Oh, it says, oh, because we're uploading right now. We're on two platforms right now.
Everybody
Um,
listening on Apple and Spotify
yeah,
and
so sorry. This is there's some growing pains right now. Um, and then it's trying to get me to upgrade because I wanted to do to three, and then it's saying you need more streaming power, get a better service. So, well, we'll get to that next week then. So right now it's
are we on YouTube though?
we are on YouTube and we are on X. So we are on X. We don't have any followers on X, but we are live streaming on there. So hopefully we'll find some new people.
Great.
Anyways, so that was just just sort of stumbling into the recording. Billy, how the hell are you, man? It's been a dog's age. How are you, man? God bless you.
God bless you, man. You're my
Yeah.
friend. I don't tell you that enough.
No, we
Um,
don't talk very much.
I do appreciate our friendship. I remember being very moved back in 2008. I read over and over again
Did you
Bruce
say
Springsteen.
2008? Okay.
Yeah,
Just want to make
sorry.
sure. This before we were friends. I didn't. I
Yeah,
mean, actually, we've always been friends. Time is an illusion of
yeah.
the. Yeah.
I've always known you. Can I finish my story though?
Yes. Sorry I interrupted. We'll edit that out.
All right. Back in '08, I used to read the eulogy that Bruce Springsteen gave for Danny Federici,
Oh, I remember him.
his organ player. And I remember there was this part where Bruce said, if we didn't still play together, the E Street Band probably wouldn't know each other at all.
Oh, that's such a classic thing for someone to say. Is that how you feel about me?
Isn't that kind of like us? Isn't this like we step on stage and
Yeah.
we make
No,
our
we
magic.
do, and then we go our separate ways because we've been put together by the good Lord to
Hmm.
do our work together, and other than that, we have nothing in common, not a thing.
Yep.
And I would
This,
also say that
this is what we're here to do.
this was a risk we took when we started the podcast. Like, is this going to kill our friendship? And it certainly has. There's no question. There's no question it's killed our friendship. So
But
because we already,
our friendship wasn't the most important thing.
it was already teetering on the edge as it was. So now
Well,
we're yeah.
yeah. Circa 2023 is when your outburst toward me became more vicious, and then
Are we?
I was
This isn't live, is it?
what?
Or is this? We're not actually recording. This isn't. No one can hear this right now, right?
Yeah, I don't think anybody can hear
All right,
this.
good. All right, so this is. We haven't started. We're not streaming. All right, so just let it rip, man. Whatever you got to say to me, you can say it.
Yeah,
2023. There's an outburst, huh? Really?
yeah. Oh shit! I'm seeing comments. I think people actually
Comments are
like it.
rolling. Oh no, we are live. Oh man, that was close. Can you
Yeah,
imagine?
if I had aired out all of our
There's really
dirty
nothing to say.
laundry.
It's all already out there.
Oh man, yeah, the sleuths on Reddit have us figured out.
Oh man, honestly, the comments from them have just been absolutely devastating. I was
What
wearing a
up,
wrinkle.
everybody?
Yeah, the comments are rolling in, baby.
Auntie Jen
Yeah.
77. Bruins
Woo!
chances.
All
I'll
right.
be pulling for him. I'll be pulling for him. I wonder
Oh,
if you're also a Celtics fan, Jen.
I bet she is. Billy is a big Celtics fan. I was listening to So I had another one of those moments at work today. I don't know. It seems like it always happens on days where we're gonna record. Um, where I already told you about there was two women that sit next to me that were like, "Oh, we love true crime. Oh, we're addicted to it. Why didn't you tell us sooner?" Blah blah blah. Then I sent them everything, and they didn't. I sent them Smirling first. It's like start here. If you still have an appetite, then go to my podcast. And then I didn't hear anything. Then there was a woman who sits behind them who's always got earphones in, and she's like that. And then I heard her talking to them saying, I'm listening to a podcast about a doctor who killed his wife. And that actually got my attention. I was like, oh, this has got to be McDonald. And then I was like, and she just like, then I interrupted her and she was like, no, it's not that case. But I listen to true crime all the time. And I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe you should get interested in the McDonald case. I think you'll like it. And so I sent her Smirling on Teams.
Yeah.
And then in that process, I started listening to it. I listened to the first three episodes today because why not? And it always cracks me up when McDonald says when he first met Joe. We had a lot to talk about. We talked about the Yankees, the Knicks, and the Nets or something. It was like it was like every New York sports team is like all me and Joe just talked about it constantly, and that just cracks me up because my dad wasn't a fan of the New York teams.
Yeah, I know. I know he
So
wasn't.
that's
Yeah.
classic chameleon. So like, I guess I could support the New York Yankees if I thought about it.
I am a sports
I
fan.
am interested in. I do know about the Yankees. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I had an experience the other day. I have six nieces and nephews.
God bless you.
Yeah, yeah. It's a lot of work, and three of them are triplets,
Hmm.
and they are 14. And
Hmm.
my niece in particular, there's two girls and a boy, and one of my nieces is getting really into reading, apparently. I was over there, and my
Hmm.
niece was talking about all the books she's reading, and my other niece was kind of teasing her about it. But the reader niece, Caroline, told me she is making her way through Helter Skelter.
Never read it.
Right. I haven't read it
You haven't
either,
read it either. Okay,
but
it's
I.
pretty mature content for a
Oh
14
yeah.
year old. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, when I was that age, I was taking swings at some heavy stuff as well.
Sure. That's space. It's yeah. There's no limits at that point.
Yeah. So I told her about the McDonald case and its connection to Helter Skelter. And I then, when I left, I got a text from my sister
Hmm.
who had overheard the whole thing, letting me know that Fatal Vision is going to be in my niece's Easter basket in a couple
Ooh.
weeks.
Oh man. So that we got that to look forward to.
Yeah, hopefully they're
Yeah.
not watching right now. I mean,
No, that'll
Caroline's
ruin the
probably here.
surprise.
Yeah,
That'll ruin the surprise. But I'm sure they're not watching. It's after their bedtime.
for sure, for
Yeah.
sure. So we got that going for us. We're trying to gain converts. We're doing the best we can. And
And Gen A converts. I think that's what they are.
are they Gen A?
I think that's what's after Z. You got to start at the beginning of the alphabet again.
Yeah. So we can fact check that in later.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
can
and
cut that.
we'll have AI change my voice to say something else there later.
Well, a lot of questions are already coming in.
Oh, really? The mailbag's blowing up.
We're gonna follow our usual format. We're gonna read first and then go back through the
Oh,
questions.
they're worried that we're not going to read?
Nobody's worried.
Okay.
I do feel like they should know that now you're seeing James and me. We're both looking straight ahead,
Oh,
and
yes. This is
because
crucial.
tonight does represent a change for us. So you may have thought that James was looking at me, during our last like 5, 10 episodes. I don't even know at this point.
A lot. A
A
lot.
lot. And I had no idea that he wasn't. That he had a camera
It's
mounted.
it's mounted on something. And
And
then
then
yeah.
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. You
I
can
had my
explain.
laptop right here, and then it was all just cords running. So Billy was just off to the side, and I was just staring at the camera blankly.
Yeah,
And,
yeah. So because in the past, James would like react to my eye rolling.
yeah,
Um,
which is apparently something you do quite a bit.
yeah, yeah. But you haven't looked at me during this podcast in a long time.
I'll
I
be
have.
honest, I'm still not looking at you. I'm looking at me, just checking myself out. You
Do you
know,
see me though?
I see you. I could see you if I looked at you. I would see you because you
Okay.
are. Maybe I can change the settings so it's just a huge. I can just pin you, so it's just a here it is pin. No,
All right,
now
great.
you're even smaller now. Oh, I'm pin. I now. Oh my God. Sorry, that just get. All I did was I made you were the only object anybody saw when I pinned you. So I'll just stop messing with the controls because
Yeah, don't do
that
that.
seriously derailed the whole production there. So,
Don't do
but
that.
anyways,
But
yes,
now, I
we're
feel
face
like
to face
tonight.
again.
Yeah, tonight's gonna get a little intense because we're really engaging with each other now.
Yeah, and the monitor that you're on is just enormous. It's like you're bigger than life itself.
It's the biggest
So
monitor
biggest monitor you've ever
anybody's
seen,
ever seen. Yeah.
anyone's ever seen. And are you? I'm energetic tonight. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm energetic tonight. And if Richard Tavere is watching, we both got a lot of sleep this week because we got he roasted us in the comments last time saying you two gentlemen need a good night's sleep. And Mr. Tavere, of course, is the first responder to Castle Drive.
Yeah, I never imagined that we'd get ridiculed by one of the first responders at Castle Drive.
I don't. I think it was just very. I took it as just sincere concern that we were just frazzled, and he was just worried. He said, "Go to bed." And yeah, I've been averaging a good 7 hours the last week, so
Yeah.
I'm back on track. So I'm ready for this. Also, a big lead into tonight's episode is that I looked ahead in the where we are in the book, and I saw that there was going to be reference to the infamous trip that Jeffrey told Colette he was going to take to Russia, which well, it turned out not to be a thing at all. And then I got one feedback from someone saying, "Oh, finally you're going to be diving deep into subject matter." And I want to be like, "No, I just want to say no, we're not." And it's just that's what's in the book tonight, and we will talk about it. And we'll go as deep as we can, but we're not going off script, until we've gone through the whole book at least twice, and then we'll do more deep dives.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Anyway,
Because once we finish the book, once we've read the whole book, then we'll be reading it then we'll be seeing it with whole new eyes. Why would we just stop going through the book at that point? Seems crazy. Because, as you know, you're leading us into the spirit of the text together, and it's a living, breathing document that we have to communicate with, Billy.
right.
I'm looking at you.
Yeah, yeah, we're communicating with it.
Yeah. So, and for those who didn't see, I've got my Book of the Month Club, Fatal Vision for 1983, right here. So
There's your thumbnail.
thumbnail. That's right. So that means I have to find the actual page number. All right.
And guys in the chat, we do see you.
We'd see
And
you. We'd love you.
we love you. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yes.
We'll be addressing all your questions once we've concluded our reading for the night.
Yeah, as we know, we do the mailbag at the end of the night. All right, I'm just working my way through chapter 3 of part 3.
Okay.
This is after we heard all about Jeff's. Oh, so to sum up, we heard from a lot of people last time. The Kingston mother-daughter duo. We heard from Ron Harrison. We heard from two girls, young women from out in San Antonio who were acquainted with Jeff during his time there. We heard from his boy, his bro, other doctor he partied with out there. So we got to hear a lot about what Jeff was doing when he was away from home last time, and somewhat about what he was doing at home from the Kingston gals and Ron. All right. So we left off. Last sentence was the daughter Kingston saying, "Oh, I never would have sent that clip from Joan Didion, or no, the Valentine with the lipstick. If I'd ever known his family would have been murdered and it would have been discovered in a chain of evidence." She didn't say the rest, but that's just a bizarre context. So then we have a section break. Billy, are you caught up there? Are you there?
Is it on the? It is kind of coincidental, isn't it?
Yes, that's the last line. It's kind of coincidental, isn't it? I'm imagining how she said it. I
That
can't
was
know
a
that for a
very
fact.
good impression of a young
Of
woman.
Leslie Kingston. Yeah, that's how young women speak. I'm policing how women speak now. So make sure that's on the record.
All right, let's
All
go.
right.
In addition to socializing with the wife of his former commanding officer and becoming really acquainted with his own wife and making the acquaintance of Nurse Tina Carlucci at Fort Sam Houston in early December, Jeffrey McDonald in the fall of 1969 was acquainting himself also with a number of other young women. He was, Ron Harrison said, doing some counseling for the red haired wife of a special forces sergeant who was having marital problems. He was also apparently teaching the 19-year-old daughter of another colleague how to drive. I don't know why I said colleague like that.
Colleague.
Yeah, sorry about that.
It's okay. You're okay. You're
Okay.
doing great.
All right. All right. I am safe. I am okay. I am
Yeah.
worthy.
Yes.
I
God loves
am
you.
I'm worthy of love.
Yeah. You're the most worthy of love.
Harrison recalled stopping by the McDonald apartment one evening just as McDonald and the young woman, whose name was Carla and who lived only a few houses away on Castle Drive, were on their way out for a lesson. McDonald told Harrison to make himself at home and have a beer, saying he would be back in about 45 minutes.
Oh, the classic driving lesson length, 45 minutes standard.
So frequent did these driving lessons become that Carla's mother eventually came to suspect a deeper, possibly intimate level of involvement. She told investigators that she considered McDonald's attentions to her daughter to be, quote, excessive and said, he took her out many places and seemed to be a little friendlier than an ordinary neighbor would have been. Even the 16-year-old babysitter who lived upstairs came in for her share of attention. She told investigators that he made one comment about if he had known girls like me when he was 16, he'd like to still be in school. Very normal thing to
Yeah,
say.
it's such a sweet guy, such a loving paternal presence.
Given the manner in which the remark had been made, the young woman said she had considered it offensive.
All
Section break.
right, section break, context break. I believe, and I don't know for a fact, and I'm sure Kevin will correct us because he knows all about our boy Kevin. It's like our research guru. I believe that Joe is obscuring the identity of the 19-year-old. I believe that's the older of the two Kalen daughters of their upstairs neighbors. So
Oh.
I believe that's Pamela Kalen was the 16-year-old babysitter who came in for her share of attention. And I forgot what the older daughter's name was, but she was a college student was home frequently and spent a lot of time learning to drive with Jeff. And so that's sort of you're seeing another pattern of like the multi-pronged approach on one family of women
Hmm.
and girls that he's
Hmm.
known for. So that's just something to sort of break the spell of anonymity 40 something years later.
Yeah. Do you want to do the next section?
Sure, I'll take us into the next section. By January of 1970, however, changes in McDonald's manner were being noted. I remember seeing Jeff looking very white and very tired and very serious, one neighbor said. He wasn't his usual jolly self, friendly and outgoing. He was moonlighting, holding down 2 jobs besides his army job, and he just looked so tired. The 16-year-old babysitter also noticed a change in both Jeffrey McDonald and his wife. After January, she said, Colette hardly ever even said hi when I went over to babysit. She never smiled, and Jeff wasn't too friendly either. When I saw them together, I just sensed they weren't happy. They didn't yell at each other, but now I look back and they never really smiled. Colette, of course, was certain by now that she was pregnant, and though to some friends she had expressed enthusiasm at the prospect of having a third child, there were others who developed a different perception. One Fort Bragg acquaintance said, I don't know how the subject came up, but she told me she had sort of gotten pregnant by mistake because she had forgotten to take one birth control pill. At the time I laughed. I sort of said, the joke's on you, that type of thing. She laughed too, but I didn't get the feeling that she was overjoyed about it. Also, by January, of course, according to what McDonald himself had told Pruitt and Kearns in one of the Philadelphia interviews, he was moonlighting at Cape Fear Valley Hospital every night. In addition, he had made arrangements to begin a second moonlighting position at Hamlet Hospital on weekends. And he had also begun to work out with the Fort Bragg boxing team. Woo! All right. Billy, you want to take us into that?
Yeah. Next section.
Right. Next section.
He came into the arena on January 4th, the boxing coach said, saying that he wanted to work out and lose some weight. I saw him thereafter on January 6th, 8th, 9th, 11th, 12th, and 20th. There might have been a couple of days during that period when he came in, which are not reflected in my logbook, but those dates reflect the majority of his visits. As far as I can determine, January 20th was the last workout he participated in. When he came in the first time, the team members were going through a 5-minute heavy bag drill. This is exceedingly strength sapping, and it generally takes months to build up the endurance to punch for the full 5 minutes. Captain McDonald, however, during his first workout, participated in this drill and lasted the 5 minutes. Although he was winded at the end, he did not seem to show the effects. I thought this was an outstanding performance for someone who had not been participating in any type of boxing program on a regular basis. Captain McDonald was much stronger than the average individual and in much better physical condition when he started the program than the average soldier would be. He also had a considerable amount of drive and determination. After only a very few workouts, he sparred with our middleweight champion and held his own during the minutes he was in the ring. He was very well accepted by the members of the team and very well liked. In fact, after his first few workouts, I asked him if he would like to become the team physician. As I remember, he accepted without much persuasion. I don't recall exactly when I told him, but I did inform him of our upcoming road trip starting on or about February 20th through to the last of April or the 1st of May. For the boxing staff, this would be continuous traveling. We would go to Fort Jackson, South Carolina for the U.S. Army trials, then to Fort Dix, New Jersey for the inter-service matches, and then on to Trenton, New Jersey for the national AAU matches. On the 12th or 13th of February, I called Washington and requested that Captain McDonald be considered for acceptance as team physician. The colonel I spoke to said he would look into it, and if Captain McDonald's unit did not object, he would be so assigned. As I recall, that same evening, I called Captain McDonald at his quarters and told him of my conversation with the colonel. I cannot recall his exact comment, but as I remember, he seemed pleased. Okay, we're like right up against the murder here. 12th to 13th of February.
Yeah, this is yeah.
Colette, however, contrary to McDonald's assertion in his diary, apparently had not been pleased. Not only had she mentioned her apprehensiveness to her mother and to the Long Island friend to whom she wrote in January, but she spoke of it to the friend who had begun to accompany her to the child psychology class in early February. Now we're quoting. She told me that when her husband first was in the army, she'd had to stay home while he had gone down for his training, and she didn't like being away from him. She sort of dreaded the thought of being separated again, but he was going somewhere with the boxing team.
Hmm.
The somewhere, uh-oh, Jeff had told Colette was Russia, not Fort Dix, not Trenton, New Jersey. Wait a minute.
What? You serious?
The team coach, however, informed the CID reinvestigators that no trip to Russia had ever been planned or even discussed. Quote, there was nothing scheduled for the Bragg or Army teams regarding Russia, the coach said. The national AAU team had gone to Russia, departing on or about the 1st of February, but I had no conversation with Captain McDonald regarding his desires to go with them, and there was no travel scheduled for the Army team after the national championships in New Jersey. So, classic McDonald lie, though. He takes a little something that he hears about,
Yes.
folds it into his story.
He likes having something to, an inspiration. Like,
Talk about
sure.
the suicide when he claimed that he was lying in bed thinking about
Oh,
shooting,
yeah. Well, there was
thinking about hanging himself.
Yeah, but it turned out, he said that he, to John Cummings of Newsday, that he was going to hang himself on April 6th, but he knew that he would fail, and that was one of the things that Kassab spotted as bullshit, because he knew Jeff also testified that he had a loaded pistol under his pillow. And then we later learned through reading Bill Ivory's self-published memoir that there had been a suicide committed in the BOQ barracks within a year earlier.
Yeah.
And that's probably where he got the idea from. But yeah, so there's always an
Same
influence.
Same deal.
Yeah.
The descriptions of the intruders,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
guys he met at the bar.
Yeah, the shortstop crew that Jay McDonald hung out with.
Yep. The home invasion itself. Got it
Of
from
course,
Esquire magazine.
Sharon Tate.
Yep.
Sharon Tate. I can't stress enough that they wrote pig in blood at the Tate murders, right? On the door.
Yeah.
So it's the same word. It's really lame. I mean, and then this thing with Russia. I've heard him talk about it, to Janet Malcolm. I've heard him talk about it to Bob. I don't know who. He did a million interviews, and he always maintains that this is that he was going to go on a trip to Russia. And he's never really been forced to. I mean, I'll have to go into the grand jury. I'm assuming at the grand jury they really they go into everything and just sort of drag him through it. But his position probably inevitably becomes, like everything else, is that the coach is wrong, the coach lied, or the coach told me that they were going to go to Russia. So even if there wasn't, it's like it's so exhausting to try to keep up with the layers of deception. And but what's so striking about this is that Colette had been complaining about it and concerned about it to multiple witnesses, to putting it in letters to June Desser, and that McDonald himself has volunteered that was one of the subjects they talked about the night that she died.
Right.
and it's almost certain that that was one of the precipitating subjects: the bedwetting, the Russia trip. We can always conclude that safely that they probably talked about that before the violence started, because otherwise he wouldn't be saying that information. He wouldn't be volunteering it because he's afraid of being overheard by the Kalin family, who he had already been apparently seducing both daughters, or driving lessons. Could we talk about the driving lesson for a second? What the hell is
Yeah,
that
yeah,
about?
yeah.
Yeah, Ron Harrison just being invited over and like left to just
Have a
make
beer,
himself at
Ron.
home. Hey,
Have a beer.
you just sit in my house alone, and I'll be back. I'll be back. I'm taking her for a driving lesson. In one of the tapes I've heard, um, with Peter Kearns, Mildred Kassab gets on the phone with Kearns, and she's like, "I think something that McDonald was doing, Jeff was doing something with that 16-year-old, and that's enough. That's illegal, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's under 18, gets you 25. Is what we say."
Hmm.
And so they were thinking about that, and she was urging him to look harder at that angle.
Hmm.
And I think as an investigator, you know that you're not making a statutory rape case. You're making a murder case. But
Hmm.
it is interesting to think about how clearly um, distorted he is,
Right.
McDonald. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Should we bang out another
Should
section?
we do? Should we bang it out?
We're at 31 minutes.
Yeah. I'll take us through one more section.
All right, great.
Um,
Thanks
I'll,
everybody for sticking
yeah.
with us.
I'm not worried about them at all. They're having a lot of fun in the chat. The comments are flying in. All right, so gradually, Pruitt and Kearns drew closer to the time of the murders. McDonald had said repeatedly that despite having worked a 24-hour shift at Hamlin Hospital and having put in a full day at his office and having then played basketball for an hour, he had not been overtired on the night of Monday, February 16th. The woman whom Colette had driven to class, however, recalled Colette's commenting that Jeff had seemed totally exhausted. She said, I forget if he was sleeping or laying on the couch when she left, but she said he was really tired because he had worked all night the night before, and then he had to go to work at Fort Bragg all day. Having had at the most a half-hour nap on the living room floor before Kimberly had awakened him to watch Laugh-In, McDonald had become so revivified during his wife's absence that upon her return he not only stayed up watching television with her until 11, but even after she went to bed he stayed up to watch more television, to finish Kiss Me Deadly, and even to wash the dinner dishes at 2 a.m. Like the unexplained sojourn to Texas and the non-existent trip to Russia, this sudden infusion of energy puzzled Pruitt and Kearns. With MacDonald no longer willing to talk to them, however, these did not seem matters which they could pursue. Instead, they focused on Colette's child psychology class. Normally, she was not an active participant in class discussions, but on the evening of Monday, February 16th, she posed a question. She raised the question, her friend said, about her youngest child coming into bed with her and her husband in the night. She wondered whether they should allow the little girl to stay the night, or if they should put her back to bed, or what kind of solution they should try. It seems to me she said her husband felt that the little girl should stay in bed with him, and, that she should go sleep on the couch. Another member of the class recalled that Mrs. McDonald outlined the situation as one in which a little girl crawls in bed with her parents and pushes her mother out of bed. This was done by the child crowding the mother so far to the edge of the bed that she was no longer comfortable. The instructor asked Mrs. McDonald if it was her child. She replied that it was. The instructor then asked if the child knew that Mrs. McDonald was pregnant. She said yes. The instructor then asked the child's age. I think she told him 2 or 3. The instructor then asked what she did about the child. Mrs. McDonald told him that she had to go sleep on the couch. The instructor asked Mrs. McDonald what her husband thought of her sleeping on the couch. She replied that it was her husband's decision that the child stay in their bed and that she sleep on the couch. The instructor asked how often this happened. Mrs. McDonald said a few times in the last 2 months. There was a general discussion about the problem, and the consensus was that after a short time the child should be taken to its own bed and made to understand that that's where it belonged. I remember Mrs. McDonald sitting there smiling and nodding, apparently happy with the discussion of the class.
Decision of the class.
With the decision of the class, I'm sorry. It was about this time that class ended. About 5 minutes later, I saw her at the shopette. The next day, I learned that she and her 2 children had been killed.
Ugh.
Yeah, I think that's a good stopping point, I guess. That is, what do we think? What are we thinking? That's really contrary to Jeff's characterization of the bed habits, right?
Yeah, say more about that.
Well, we've all listened to April 6th, or read April 6th. Man, who are we kidding? We listened to it. We've all read the April 6th story, and he said that it was all, it's musical beds, someone ends up somewhere, it's just a wacky, it happened all the time. And it's extremely one way, according to what Colette reported to an entire room full of people about a couple hours before she was murdered, which was that Jeffrey decided that she were to sleep on the couch, and if Kristen came to bed. It does sound, it's pretty clear that they're talking about Kristen coming to bed.
Right.
As having been the habit. Other thing that strikes me is that, we see that sort of Easter egg about Jeff taking speed. Joe is he's just having the time of his life writing that passage.
Or yeah.
Revivified. It's like the immortal. I'll never forget reading that Jeff was revivified, that he had a sudden infusion of energy, and he was able, despite passing out onto the couch and Colette being so concerned, that he was able to just gallantly stay up till 2 in the morning and reading and watching TV, and then finally getting around to doing the dishes. That's by his own account. Otherwise, I just think he sounds like such a fucking asshole. Just in general, like even if he wasn't a murderer,
Yeah.
Just you're sending your pregnant wife to sleep on the couch.
Yeah, get out of here.
Get out of here. Get out. Go get Ron. Ron needs a beer. Put the game on. It's just insufferable. Well,
in here we have another example of getting Colette's voice a little bit. Like we're getting a little bit of a window into her, how she was with her friends, how she was in a class. She's not portrayed by the other people that knew her other than Jeff as being totally obsessed with Jeff and Jeff, and I'm just so proud of Jeff for everything Jeff's doing.
Oh no, I mean, this is coming in at a time in the book where we've spent almost all of it learning about her through Jeff's tape recordings, and just fantasies about what she was like. And we spoke offline about this since last time, and I think that he might just well have dissociated basically all of his memories about like there's stuff that he ends up lying about, like the Saratoga, like their trips to Saratoga, which years they were even together or broken up
Yeah.
with. Where does Dean fit into the timeline? And he forgot everything. He doesn't like. I think he could easily. I think he might have just honestly dissociated like everything about her out of the self-preservation thing, like the guilt, like no guilt, and that's why she's so. I mean, maybe he just honestly never even got to know her at all, because that's
Yeah.
just as likely. But I also think there's some kind of a narcissistic coping thing going on where he.
Well, and they got married because she got pregnant.
Uh huh. Mm-hmm. Um,
Does
and I
Jeff
was
sound like a guy? Does Jeff sound like a guy who wanted to be married?
no, he seemed to love the idea of being married. Um,
But then the whole time he was married, he was
he
trying to
wanted
like
to be
go to
elsewhere.
Vietnam.
Go to Vietnam, go to New Jersey, say it's Russia. There's no smartphone. You can't share your location. It's a plausible story. The
Yeah.
whole joining the army thing was all made up. Like I was drafted. I had to do it. Um, and I mean, just his social calendar with all the women and girls, just so jam packed. It's just so much. This is such stamina from him. It's endless. It's bottomless, really. When you think about what a short period of time we're talking about, it's December, January.
Hmm.
So San Antonio in December. He's back in Fort Bragg in January, and he's with the Kingston mother daughter. He's with the Kalen sisters. Um, I can't remember. There's I think a couple other. Who knows who else? That's just what's in this chapter.
Yeah. I was thinking during the boxing coach,
Mm. Oh, just
I
how
was
awesome he was.
I was getting a kick out of it because here's
Yeah,
another guy who's just like, wow,
I'm so impressed.
Jeff is so hot. I can't believe it. Um,
The
but
fittest boxers in the country couldn't have done that 5 minute bag drill. No way.
but it also made me think about Jeff being on speed.
Oh God, I completely missed that.
Yeah. It's
So he
in the
must,
same section
yeah. When he
where we're
started with like
learning.
he's appearing to be like all irritable and pale to everybody.
Yeah.
Everyone's just he's like he's not the same old Jeff. He's all
But
like
then
he's
he
just.
can just
But
go,
then
go,
he can
go.
just punch it like. And I think the fact that he chose boxing is he's like basketball isn't enough. It's not violent enough. I want to like be punching other human beings. Like a sudden interest in in attacking with fists. Um, I mean that's I mean I know it sounds like a stretch, but I mean it's pretty. And he still talks about. I mean then he was telling the fucking investigators, I work out with boxing gloves sometimes, and this guy throws a hell of a punch.
Yeah. It could, and I would know.
I would know. I worked out with the boxing team. What is it, 5 times, and not for a whole month after that. Um,
Uh,
so what do we think
well,
about this thing? Is there I think it's always worth checking in on our bias. Are we too certain in our knowledge that the Russia trip didn't really exist, or that Jeff didn't believe it existed? Um, you know,
sounds like Jeff was told specifically all of the places they were going to
I mean,
travel.
this guy's memory seems pretty exact. Um,
Well, and there would also be like a
there's
schedule.
records, yeah, like there's
There'd
a
be a
published
calendar.
schedule. There's
Yeah.
travel booked, and there had been a trip to Russia that happened before the murders, and he was saying it was happening in June or whenever the nationals were, the nationals, AAU nationals. Um, but so if we go back through all the testimony and the depositions, I'm just curious if he's ever confronted about this obvious lie, and how much he was presenting it to his wife. And has he ever been? I go. I don't know. We can always just imagine. He just deflects. And that's just what he does.
Yeah.
The only times this is why it's so tantalizing that he's ever successfully been held under fire by an interrogator is April 6th, and then of course the grand jury, Victor Warheide. Just both times it ends with him crying and swearing like at the same time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's why we're all so desperate to hear those tapes. But they're coming. They're already ours in a metaphysical sense.
So checking in with our bias.
Yeah.
Any,
So are we hopelessly biased against McDonald?
Have any new spiritual or theological insights occurred to you tonight?
Oh. No. I mean, it's the usual ones.
The usual.
Yeah. I mean, I always urge him to confess. He's still alive, and he should confess. If you can hear this, it's not too late.
It's not too late. Read Crime and Punishment.
Read Crime and Punishment. I mean, we know he loves literature and poetry.
All right. So James, you're the one with the ability. We're gonna go through the comments now. You're the one with the ability to actually put them up on the screen.
Yeah, I'll do that. I got the chat right here.
If you go back to the top, all right, I already addressed some of these. We don't need. I'll tell you which ones to put up. Richard Burke was commenting on when we were talking about when we launched this. Did this podcast begin? Yeah, I don't know. We started it in 2024.
We recorded demos in 2024, and then we didn't actually upload until January of 25.
Yeah, and then we were shocked that any of you listened. So
yeah,
thank
here
you.
We are.
All right, Victoria, can you guys tell us something you've never told anyone before?
That's quite the ask. I don't know.
Yeah, I tell people a lot.
I don't really hold back. I don't recall censoring myself on this platform about this subject. I'm an open book.
Open book with an open door policy.
Who knows what's lurking in the subconscious? I believe you went on about 10:44 p.m.
Well, the problem I'm having with Victoria's question is all the stories I can think of to share are stories that I've told. That's how they became.
Oh, I see. Sorry.
Stories in my head.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's how the brain works, right? It frames the picture.
Brain frames the picture.
Yeah, as Errol Morris put it so well in that YouTube short.
Yeah.
I'm a little skeptical of all these people named Rob, to be honest.
Oh, we're done with that question. All right.
No, I'm sorry. I don't know. You tell me. What have you not told anybody? I'm all ears. Don't hold back.
Okay. I've never told anybody that earlier today I was listening to the Battle Hymn of the Republic on a loop.
That's awesome, man.
Never told anybody that.
Good for you. That's I'm very moved by that. Yeah, I think the whole concept of never is kind of a tricky thing. I don't really believe in linear time, and so if I've told something once, I've told it in the past and the future. So
yeah, have you guys ever listened to the Blood on the Tracks album?
By Bob
Moving Around in Time.
Oh yeah, it's all about cubism.
Yeah. All about cubism. All right. Rob Kersey. Here you go, James. Fire that one up. Did Joe McGinnis really witness Jeffrey R. McDonald screaming at the top of his lungs?
You see, this feels like a McDonald defender trying to sneak in. Because this is one of their favorite complaints is that they don't even complain about the Fatal Vision book. They complain about things in the movie that were presented a little bit embellished according to their logic, like the so Rob Kersey, you might be just the biggest Fatal Vision fan of all time, but I don't think you are. Um, this is just feels like this lame stuff that they complain about. If you read Fatal Vision, the book, you'll read what Joe saw, which is that Jeff is being sullen when those things actually happen. He's like, War Heidi, that Nazi, he's just sitting there seething. Um, Although one thing that didn't make the NBC broadcast, but that was in the book and that Jeffrey did say was the N word. So you can decide which one is better for you.
Also, but we don't know how you feel, Rob.
Yes,
So,
we don't. We don't. I'm making a ton of assumptions, and when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. So,
let's see what else
all
we
right,
got
let's
here.
keep going. Mailbag is rolling in.
Okay, we got Richard. I believe I came across this podcast first last October, but didn't figure out how to access the live show until 2 weeks ago. That's great. Welcome, welcome, Richard.
Welcome, Richard. Glad to have you.
Kathy says, "Have you ever talked to?" Fire this one up on the screen.
Wait,
Have
where
you
is
ever?
she?
She right below Richard at 10:51 p.m.
Oh yeah, so these were rolling in.
Have you ever talked to the hospital he worked in and the police that supported him? I live in Long Beach.
Oh God. I never talked. Oh my. Oh, sorry. There's people coming in complaining about the movie scene again. 10:51 p.m.
Yeah, we
Have
got.
you ever talked to the hospital he worked at,
Yep, there it is.
worked in, and the police that supported him? I live in Long Beach. No, I haven't. I've listened to some of their statements at the parole hearing in '75. You certainly don't hear. They certainly don't speak out much for their old friend now, though a lot of them are still alive. So I wonder why that is.
All right. Rob Kersey. It was in the scene in the movie, him talking to Bernie Siegel, and Siegel was trying to tell him to stop being a smart aleck. All right. It seems like Rob is actually on.
He is, and I am ashamed
film.
for misinterpreting his motives. God bless you,
Well,
Rob.
James, it was just your human frailty shining
Yeah,
through.
it's just my frailty shining through. I'm as apparently able to be wrong about people in the spur of a moment live stream as anybody else. Uh,
Richard, is this podcast typically on Thursday, 10:30 to 10:30 p.m. to
yes,
12?
yep, you got it. We're always starting a little bit late because that's just our
Of
frailty
me,
shining through.
because of me.
But there's really nothing between. This is either it's we're both one.
I know
Um,
that. I know that.
yeah.
Okay. My true crime obsession. I've always been curious about Ron Harrison. Is he still alive? Has he ever given an interview?
No, he's never given an interview. I have no reason to believe he's dead. I know that people were trying to contact him in the 2010s, and he was living in rural Washington State, and not even Christina Misavage and her biblical level of persistence was able to penetrate his iron curtain of not commenting on the McDonald case. So no, he's never done anything other than talk to the media in 1970 on behalf of Jeff when Jeff was in the hospital, and then he showed up when he's been subpoenaed. Other than that, he's been gone dark.
All right. I'm not gonna comment on these, but I do love the sports banter happening in our chat. Some Rangers talk, anti-Rangers talk. All right, Kathy B. Curious as to how old was James when his father was writing Fatal Vision. Also, did you discuss the book with your dad? If so, can you share a favorite discussion?
Wow, beautiful, and I love to think about my dad. I'm actually younger than Fatal Vision, the book, so I don't recall any of it's being written. And I didn't even I watched the movie when I was 10 or 11, and then I only read it once before he died, so we never really talked about it very much. We talked about the case plenty, but I'll have to think and meditate hard on that, Kathy. Thanks for helping me get closer to my father in spirit. All right, let's go on.
Yeah.
We're getting a lot of more stuff from Richard Burke about the Looney Tunes stuff here.
Yep. What's your assessment of the Ted Gunderson investigation, which seemed to be a large basis for the documentary False Witness to Jeffrey McDonald? So, look, I'll answer this
Yeah,
quickly. We think Gunderson's investigation is bullshit.
yeah, it's
Crazy.
stupid. It's really stupid. Gunderson is a complete crackpot. No
And
offense to
everything Gunderson's ever put forth has been rebutted by
no, and he had Stokely saying that she was in a satanic cult in her confession tape. So he was one of his proto satanic ritual abuse victims there. And I did speak to somebody who was associated with the McDonald defense camp, who did know Ted Gunderson. Spoke to them recently, and they told me, hey, and we all love hearsay evidence, right? Because that's Jeff's favorite kind. They told me that by the time Gunderson died, he didn't think McDonald was innocent anymore. So, I'll take that for, that's true for Jeff's entire family too, basically. So, not a whole lot of people really think he's innocent. Most people are pushing back on whether Fatal Vision was fair or whether the trial was fair. So the goalposts shift over time.
Do you
All
believe
right.
that Helena Stokely's confessions were prompted by her informant relationship with Prince Beasley and Beasley's association with Ted Gunderson? Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
easily. No question.
Was Greg Mitchell killed in the Vietnam War?
Wait. No,
And
he
then-
wasn't. He died in the 80s.
Yeah, Jen answered that. He died in
Okay. Oh, thank
1982 from cirrhosis of the liver. Okay. Were Greg Mitchell's confessions prompted by his relationship with Stokely?
All right. I'll just say this. What confessions?
Yeah.
Thank you. Moving on.
More stuff, more stuff, more stuff.
Oh, more. So Richard has just been carpet bombing us with.
Yeah, but Richard's on our team, man.
He's on our team.
Richard's a good guy.
He's a great guy.
I gotta say, Dawn made it. Now Dawn has commented a few times saying, "Oh, she just missed it. When will she catch us live?" And Dawn, we're really happy. We're really happy you made it tonight. We're glad to see you here.
Sorry, I just got to jump ahead because I'm getting flamed by because I said that there was a parole hearing in '75. Apparently, I said that on the air, and obviously, I meant the bail hearing, which you can hear audio of on my on the channel here on YouTube. So sorry I misspoke.
Oh, we jumped ahead. Oh, okay. Well, from the same person, maybe
Yeah, he's been
put this
peppering
up.
away.
There's been. Let's see. I wanna make sure we get everybody's. Um, let's see. Yeah, Pommy asked a similar question to what you've already answered. James, did you ever talk to your dad about the case? Yeah.
Of course,
Yeah, it was the presence.
but
of-
I didn't have my disposition toward it at the time, so it was wasted on me then.
Let's see what else we got. Richard again. Did Jeff address why he didn't change Kristen after claiming that he brought her to bed?
I believe he was saying to Kearns that he was just tired. He's like, "Oh, she'll dry out," I think is what he said. I heard on one of these tapes, I heard Curran saying, "Come on, bullshit. I'm not that great a dad," and I changed my kids out of the drenched, urine-drenched clothes.
Yeah. Victoria said Jeff wanted a perfect life and didn't think Colette would stop him.
I think that's probably true.
The
I'm not
image of
sure.
a perfect life, family,
Yes.
career,
Yeah.
service.
No, it's impossible for him to actually be gratified other than through the projection.
Let's see what we got here. Oh, we got a McDonald. Oh, so at 09RJA is a full McDonald defender. Welcome to the chat. We don't get a lot of
Oh, I
them.
know. Yeah.
This is
Well,
good. This is good.
yeah.
So, at 09RJA is oh, railroaded a guilty guy. From there,
Yeah.
railroaded a guilty guy.
Okay. So it's more of a process concern than a guilt or innocence concern. Got it. Yeah, I'm not an expert on process. I just know about one thing. I know about the McDonald case. So I don't know about whether it's fair or not. Well, the way however you feel about the appellate system, it's he's had plenty of opportunities to try to exploit it, and he successfully did. Um, got out on a speedy trial claim for a little while, and he delayed his trial for a couple of years too. The same claim.
This same person is skeptical of the eschatrol theory. Do you want to address that?
It's not a theory. It's it's not a theory at all. McDonald said that he took it in his notes. So I don't understand I mean. I don't know of anybody who says they know for a fact that the murders wouldn't have happened if he hadn't been on eschatrol. But I guess you could say, if you want to give Jeff the benefit of the doubt, which you do, um, he would later say, after he was shown his own notes, as you know, on 60 Minutes, that he lost 12 to 15 pounds by using 3 tablets of eschatrol over 4 weeks, 6 weeks period, which is just insane and stupid. Because that is taking just to translate it to generics, it's 15 milligrams of amphetamine. You take that once, it's out of your system in 8 hours. So,
That's a good answer, James. So
yeah.
I want to
All right.
say to the same commenter, maybe put this one up. It's toward the bottom here. Didn't
Okay.
know I was a full Mac defender. Glad to know.
No, no, hey man, we love you so much. It's not about that.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not mad at you, man. And actually, a minute later, I said, I read your actual words about it. So
Yes.
I love you. I'm not mad at you. Um, it's all good. It's all good. Um, happy to have civil discourse with you. Pommy 5093. Can you fire this up for me to this at 11:39? She commented this. Um,
Um, here
yeah.
we are.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry, I was supposed to, I already asked. So, Billy, does your landlord love you yet?
Mm.
Um, well, today a contractor did come to finally fix my walls. Um, so, love. I feel like we're getting there. I feel like we're getting there. I felt seen. I
That's
felt cared
amazing.
for. Yeah. I'm not sure how or why that changed with me and my landlord. Just a lot of prayer, keeping my heart open.
It's grace, man. It's just
He's
grace.
never he's never said like that he loves me, but
He loves you.
okay.
He doesn't know it. Maybe he doesn't even know it.
Maybe he doesn't know it.
The
Maybe he
Holy
doesn't know it.
Spirit, the Holy Spirit is in that is in him. You
Yeah.
can't lose that battle.
Yeah. Yeah, this makes me think of this Seamus Heaney poem
Hmm.
about taking a drive through County Clare, and you're seeing the swans flying, and you're seeing the light glisten on the water, and you're trying to take it all in. And Heaney writes, useless to think you'll park and capture it more thoroughly. You are neither here nor there, a hurry through which known and strange things pass, as big soft buffetings come at the car sideways and catch the heart off guard and
Hmm.
blow it open.
Hmm.
You see what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the landlord
Nice.
in me, and our hearts are open, and we're surprised by grace. You know. So it's
I
leave
I'm
you
very
with that.
grateful that you brought that to us. Poetry is
Crucial.
beautiful,
Yeah.
and uh, I'm not sure where Jeff ranks Heaney in his top poets.
That would be a good question for him.
Yeah. Um, okay.
All right, we're gonna.
There's still people that are pushing back on whether it was unusual or not for someone to be taking Escatrol habitually in 1970. I'm not saying it was or wasn't. It sounds like it certainly was overprescribed or readily available. Um, Jeff was taking it. He was worried it was going to show up in a blood test. You can decide that's not material or not. You think he's guilty, so I'd love to know why you think he did it.
Well, I actually think that's an important clarification.
Yeah.
Jeffrey McDonald was not convicted because of the jury's knowledge of his eschatrol use. In fact, the jury had no knowledge of his eschatrol use. Um, this is something Joe McGinnis, as a journalist going through Jeff's documents, discovered and included in the book. Joe McGinnis doesn't say definitively Jeff got hopped up on eschatrol and that's why he did it.
No.
It's just a possibility. We know from Jeff's own handwriting that he was taking way more than the prescribed amount of eschatrol. So the idea that, are you familiar with what a straw man is? So if you're saying physicians of that era prescribed amphetamines often,
To themselves. Just saying.
yeah. Well, if they were using it, then they were using it. Where do you have evidence that they were using it to the extent that Jeff claimed in his own handwriting to have been using it? Again, we don't even need the eschatrol information because Jeffrey wasn't convicted based on that. So,
This is information that he offered,
yeah,
information that he's volunteered for us to take in
I don't know. I
and
just feel
consider.
like again, at '09 RJA who's weighing in, we love you,
Yeah, it's nothing personal.
but it's just weird to like chime in with the well actually
And
this
actually,
guy.
everyone was taking Escatrol back then. They didn't know
Yeah,
murder their families. Well, okay,
yeah.
but Jeff did. So I think since you're starting with a fact, which is Jeff did it, then you look into the possibilities and the fact that he was on a relatively new drug to him that he'd been prescribing to his wife in the fall is worthy of speculating since he won't tell us why he did it or how he did it and when he did it. So that's why, and I think if you look in Fatal Vision, the amount of escatrol, as Joe says, will always remain a quote dark area. Um, we can only go with what he said in his notes. He says 3 to 5. pretty obvious. He'd be taking 3 to 5 a day. If you don't buy it, that's fine. He's still in jail. And the other thing is, I'm reminded now of the Bob Keeler phone call with Joe. Um, I had a publication asking, pushing back, how much Jeff wanted Keeler to push back on the stuff about the Stern family, Jeff sleeping with both daughters and the mother, and throwing the son off of a boat, and threatening to crush his skull. After like 20 minutes, Joe is just like, "Look, he's not in jail for throwing a kid off a boat." Like these you can decide whether these are satisfy you or meet your standard of evidence personally, or whether they're worth considering. The jury doesn't have it. None of it's ever been grounds for appeal. And oh, he's weighing in now. Your dad's own book speculated it was a combination of his personality and escadrille. Escadrille. So there it is. I've never bought it though. Uh,
Okay.
I don't know if that's. I don't. I've read the book quite a bit. I think um, that's not an accurate summation of what the book says. So I'm not satisfied with that.
Okay. And you've never bought the thing you're pretending
Yeah,
Joe said,
yeah.
and you
So
think Jeff is guilty, I guess, maybe.
just
So
seems, yeah. Like I said, what's your theory then? You think he did it? What? Why do you think he did it?
he's just in the mood to
He's just
criticize.
sparring. He's sparring. He's one of the top um, AAU boxers, and you and I are just the new trainees going with him in the ring for 5 minutes and holding our own.
Do we have live phones tonight? Maybe we could just bring them
Yeah,
on.
yeah. You want to come on the air? Let's hear it. No, he's not biting.
Bummer.
Oh well, that could have been fun. That could have been like one of those '80s era shows where Jeff is always calling in from prison. That we've been posting on the channel. And yes, Auntie Jen points out lack of sleep causes delirium in anyone after not sleeping. So yeah, it's probably. Oh, he says he wants to come on the phone.
All right, yeah, sure, bring
All
them
right,
on.
all right. Do.
Don't be mad at me over the connection. We're not mad.
No, no one's mad. No one's mad. All right. All right. I'm copying a link to the show into the chat. Join us.
I love that you're as Billy.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It says as Billy. Well, because it's your Riverside account.
Oh
So
yeah, I forget that all the
yeah.
time. Yeah, there's a slight delay. So
There's a delay. Yeah.
is there at
We're on
least like a is there like at least like a waiting room?
I don't know.
Or are they just gonna
Uh,
like be able to come right in?
Probably. Yeah. That was a really hot link to send out. Um.
Yeah, there's got to be some way we can eject people too.
Oh, we can. I have the people information right here, so there's omnipotent power.
Oh,
I'm not
thank
worried.
God.
Yeah, yeah, thank God.
I think.
Oh,
Oh,
he's
there
on.
you
Hello, or they are. Hey, welcome to the show.
Welcome, sir.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. What's your name?
Name's RJ.
RJ. Welcome to the Fatal Vision Podcast. Thanks for coming on. You're our
Welcome,
first
welcome,
ever
welcome.
call-in.
Wow, first ever call.
Yeah, so this would be this would be easier than just going back and forth in the chat. I'd love to hear your point of view. What's you believe Jeff is guilty?
I
What
don't
makes you
know.
believe that?
What I believe about this case is complex.
Okay, take us
And,
through your
I've,
thinking.
I've done jury duties before, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
here to tell you, you know, what people think the burden of proof is just flat wrong. I mean, it's beyond a reasonable doubt. I mean, like one of the OJ jurors thinking, I hate to bring them up, they've been slammed enough, but like one of them said, I found him not guilty, not innocent, and that's kind of how I've always felt about this case. I'm around about 60 years old. I've been aware of this case for quite some time. I read Fatal Vision when I think I was in like junior high school. Remember the movie and all this kind of stuff. It's one of these cases where it's like investigative reporter Dan Moldea said about Sirhan. He said they may have got the right guy, but I think they got him for some of the wrong reasons. There's a lot of things in this case that I've just never bought that or supposedly prove so much. Like the pajama top demonstration. And I'm not a layman looking at that either, by the way. I mean, I'm an engineer for a living. I, deal with stress and tearing and that sort of thing all the time. And, I didn't buy it. I didn't buy it then. And all the stuff that supposedly proves this and that and that and this. And we're going to say his story doesn't match the crime scene. And I'm sitting there thinking, how stupid does anybody think I am? I remember one of the detectives that looked at Robert Kennedy's assassination. You know what he said about eyewitnesses? He said they're the worst things you can have. You get 10 people, you get 10 different versions of what happened. And so, you put a lot of this stuff together, and I've just never, again, the guy may very well have done it. A very real possibility. In fact, if I had to bet every penny I had on what happened, my money's on him. I just don't know that I would have voted guilty on that jury. So that's kind of my thoughts on the case. I don't know. Yeah,
go. All
Sure.
right. Oh no, now we understand your position. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
yeah,
that's very helpful.
Thanks for
Um,
being here, man. It's cool that you tuned in.
yeah.
yeah.
It's hard to put this across because I've commented on your channel before. And a lot of people have replied, said, "Oh, you're defending that family annihilator and that cheating bastard and all this kind of guy." I shouldn't be using that language, but that cheating joker, and all this kind of stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
no, I mean, if I knew this guy in real life, he'd probably be one of the last persons I would want to be friends with. But at the same time, he's not on trial for cheating on his wife. He wasn't on trial for, and he said the same thing about OJ. They're and Scott Peterson, and they got Scott Peterson. They said they put Scott Peterson's face up there on the in closing statements, and they said, "Look at that lying, cheating SOB. Now let's convict him of murder." And,
Yeah.
you're just kind of okay, okay, but I don't know. I can ramble on about this case quite a bit. I mean, I'm a true crime fan. I've read about a lot of cases, including this one, and
Mm-hmm.
so you know it it's held my attention over the years. Anyway,
Well,
I've
we,
talked.
we appreciate you following the
Yeah.
channel and hanging out
Yeah.
with
Thank
us.
you.
Mhm.
No,
Uh,
thanks for your point of view, and I understand more where you're coming from now. So thanks for
Yeah,
jumping on.
you're welcome.
Bye,
Okay.
RJ.
Thanks,
All
RJ,
right, have
for
a good
joining
one.
us. You too.
See ya.
Take care. All right. Wow. See, it's possible. Call-ins,
Wow, we really did it.
live radio. RJ, that was awesome, man. Thank you for joining us. I
I
have
like
seen your
I like the
Yeah,
sound of his voice.
I do. It's very very soothing. It's sort of like
Yeah. I
just
mean, I just I don't I disagree with him.
yeah. I
So
don't.
yeah.
I don't agree with his assessment of the trial, or that. But it's we let him have he said his what he wanted to say.
We are free speech warriors here.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, absolutely. Fundamentalist on free speech. I just want to give a shout out to Christina out of Long Island. She's been holding it down in the chat all night. She sent me a message on Facebook earlier that I didn't read yet, but she sent me a copy of the 61 Patchogue high school yearbook with Jeff and Colette's class, Dean Chamberlain. So that came in the mail last week, and it's
Can we put
yeah.
the Pommy comment up? I was here for the first ever call in. I think that's a T-shirt.
Where's Pommy? I was here. All right, that's it.
That's the T-shirt, man.
Yeah, that's great.
Everyone here, you write to us.
We made history tonight. We made history here. Oh, beautiful stuff. What, Billy? What are you laughing about?
Oh, now there's a whole discussion
About Peterson. Yeah, see,
Peterson
this is the true crime. It's the true crime. It's true crime, man. I only know one case.
Yeah, so
and I'm still a student of it. I am not. I have so much to learn.
I have a lot to learn. I mean, but
Yeah.
we're not talking about eyewitnesses. The Sirhan comparison it made no sense.
Oh, you know who was an eyewitness? Was James Milne, who heard people chanting in his backyard, wearing sheets, carrying candles as they marched off in the direction of the McDonald House at 12:30 in the morning. So that's interesting, and we do know that that's not a reliable testimony. We certainly McDonald, as the only eyewitness from the house itself, his testimony isn't very reliable either. Not to dispute a dead horse on that.
I'm just gonna read this. This is and maybe this is a good note to conclude on for tonight.
All right, Billy.
We've had a lot of fun.
Please.
This is something that Brian Murtaugh wrote in an email.
Oh, this is my favorite.
An email to Joe McGinnis, I believe.
In 2012, yeah.
All right. So RJ, I'm going to invite you to sit down. I know you just came on and you probably were sitting already, but you came on, you made an argument, and I know that when I make an argument, it's hard to then hear the other argument and let it in a little bit. So fortunately, this is all recorded, and you can listen to it again in a more receptive condition. But here's what Murtaugh wrote in 2012. As I have said a million times, the physical evidence only comes into focus when it is viewed through the prism of McDonald's false account. It was the government's theory at trial that McDonald's account was a false exculpatory account, a combination of incrimination of hippies and an alibi. Paren, I wasn't in the bedrooms while the murders were being committed. I was in the living room fighting with the other intruders. Close paren. The jury was instructed, and this is a standard instruction which McDonald never challenged, that they may consider an exculpatory account demonstrated to be false as evidence of consciousness of guilt, as if it were a confession. Here the jury rejected Bernie's household detritus and evidence of intruder's straw man. Rather, the jury convicted McDonald because they accepted that Colette was stabbed 21 times through McDonald's pajama top, which by his account he had placed on her chest after the hippies were gone, and therefore only McDonald could have stabbed Colette with the ice pick. Similarly, the jury accepted that only McDonald could have tracked Colette's blood out of Kristen's room, and that this could only have occurred during the movement of Colette's body. In essence, they convicted him on the basis of physical evidence that could only have come from him as the only criminal agent, and which could not be explained by the actions of intruders. Add to this the tremendous disparity between the injuries inflicted on Colette, Kimberly, and Kristen with those he claimed to have sustained. The jury heard McDonald's carefully parsed account from the witness stand. To the extent that there was any credibility remaining in his account, it evaporated when the jury heard McDonald on direct testify that his account to Freddie Kassab of torturing a confession out of one of the intruders, killing him and burying him outside a bar in Fayetteville, was a, quote, lie of incredible proportions. The only thing that ever separated McDonald from being a murderer was the purported credibility of his account of intruders. At the end of the day, they didn't believe that account and treated it like a confession.
That's it. He confessed. As far as the jury was concerned, he confessed by telling such a preposterous story that could be proven as consciousness of guilt. That's why he lost. That's why he's still there. Thank you, Brian. We love you.
All right, good show tonight.
Good show, guys.
Everybody that was here for the first ever call-in, email us at televisionpodcast@gmail.com. We're gonna print some T-shirts.
We'll work on that T-shirt for you, RJ. Just
RJ, you get a shirt, man.
We will. We got merch coming, and you'll
pay us a lot of money, but we're gonna get you that shirt.
Yeah, we'll get it for you. They'll get it to you. So, if nobody told you today, even though it's already tomorrow, I think, isn't it? It's already 12:10.
We love you.
Nobody told you today. We love you, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. Good night. Good luck, everybody. Have a great week.
All right, now hang
up. Now hang up. Hang it up. Don't just leave.